Hello, my name's Kevin Dyer. I'm a writer, and this is a little writing burst session, isn't it? With writing on the wall. What it's about, it's a little bit of selfish time when it's just us and a keyboard or a pen and paper, and we're just going to be writers for half an hour. Because we live in a bit of a busy world, don't we, where everything's telling us to do the other stuff, you know. So what I've done, I've got myself a cup of tea and I've got my glasses, got a tissue, I've got my inhaler. So what can go wrong? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with nothing, really. I'm a great believer in starting with a blank sheet of paper because we've got it all inside us, haven't we? But actually, we're going to start with some little things to get us started. Of course, we have to decide what we're going to write about, don't we? I haven't done any preparation for this because I thought, let's just start with nothing. I have to decide whether I'm going to write about somebody in the Black Lives Matter movement, somebody in the middle of a march, maybe in the middle of a demonstration, or a little girl on her first day of school, or I watched Handmaid's Tale last night. I'm working my way through, and I'm going to start with one of the images that I saw in that, or this hat. This is from my son. My son doesn't live at home anymore. I'm going to write about him, probably not about his hat. Am I going to find a moment in his life that just a moment of beauty or a moment of terror? However, what I thought I'd do is I'd find some objects. I think objects are really interesting to start writing from. And if you're going to join me on this, this is the only rule. I'm going to show you an object, but the object mustn't be in the writing. Oh, I did think that I would bring in the marmalade that I made last night that hadn't set. God, how frustrating. I thought it might be a piece about disappointment, but it wouldn't be about marmalade. It would be about, I don't know, relationships or a time of failure or something like that. But not marmalade, I don't think. It could be about marmalade, but my little rule today is that the objects I provide aren't going to be in it. So these are the three objects to get us going. Before we start, I want to say welcome, just welcome. And don't forget, this morning we can write any old crap we want. What I'm going to do is we're going to spend 5 minutes and write something, and then I'll come back and I'll just reflect on what I've done. And then we'll have a bit more time to finish it off, if you like. And then I'll read mine out. Well, that's scary, isn't it? And what I'd love you to do is, if you want, you can just post it, send it into Writing on the Wall, and they'll put it as a little PS at the end of this session. Enough words. These are the three objects. I haven't chosen one, but I'm going to choose one now. I'm going to write for 5 minutes. Because writing's all about choosing, isn't it? It's all about choosing. Yeah. We just have to look at the world, see how that connects with what's in here, and make some choices. First choice, which one are we going to choose? Oh, and the rule, can't write with the object in the writing. I'm completely stuck. But that's okay. I think what we have to learn as writers is how to get unstuck. That's the craft, isn't it? About life and about writing. We're stuck. How do we get unstuck? Right, okay. See you in 5 minutes. I'm going to stick an alarm on my phone. Set my alarm for 5 minutes. Happy writing. How's it going? Just remember, all you've got to find is a character, a location, a time, and something that happens. Character, location, time, something that happens. I haven't got all four yet. God, that was quick, wasn't it? Okay. What have I done? I've written that. I'm a playwright, but it's not dialogue. What is a play? A play is a story that's acted out. The first thing to find is the story. Now and again, I start with dialogue, but that's not very often. Now and again, I start on my keyboard. That's not very often. Usually when I start to write a play, I've got a summer house. That's posh, isn't it? It was here when we moved in. And I sit in there with a pencil and paper, and I write those first sort of rough questions, actually, just with a pencil and paper. Sometimes, for me, I think the dialogue comes really late in the process. But this is a little 30-minute session, isn't it? So I'm going to get to some dialogue in a minute. But I've started off, I used one of the stimuli. I started off with her name, because I thought I'm going to get character quick. I'm going to get who the character is, and I'm just going to work around that, find out some things about her. And that's what this piece is. It's just a little walk into her life, and there's no planning. I'm just going to see what comes up, what interests me. I don't care if it makes sense. I don't care if it's offensive. I really don't care. I know I'm going to go to somewhere that's a bit dangerous, because the last thing I don't want anybody on their phone, because phones are boring, aren't they? Phones are so much part of our life. I don't want to go to the theatre and watch somebody on a phone. That's my opinion. They're not going to be depressed. They really are not going to be depressed. I don't need any of that. Thank you very much. But I know they're going to be in trouble, because central characters are always in trouble. And my job is to make the audience be interested in their trouble. Yeah, that's it. I know where she is, actually. I know her name, which I don't always know. I know where she is, and I know a little bit about her character. Well, this is okay. I'm going to move you on to the next bit now. I hope you're having a nice time. I hope you got something. Just to remind you. These are mung beans, by the way. And nature often goes with poetry, doesn't it? But I think it's particularly interesting for theatre writers, for us to write about the natural world, not only because of the environment and the crisis, but because it takes us out of the house. Often as, we go to the theatre and it's a play set in a kitchen, isn't it? Or it's set on a sofa. When I was young, all plays were set on the sofa. They were all in front of French windows, and there was a sofa, and all the actors stood up all the time because they were all white, middle-class British. We had that sort of George Bernard Shaw sort of theatre. And I decided I'm not going to write plays with any chairs in. And I'm certainly not going to have a sofa. I'm not going to have no sofas and no chairs. None of that stuff. It's a bit of a rule I made for myself. Actually, I've broken that rule now. I wrote a play last year which had 27 chairs in it. But I think it's useful for us to write plays that are not tiny little domestic things, because there's a lot of them about, aren't there? If you have started writing a little domestic space, is in a kitchen. I don't do kitchens. I don't do breakfasts, because soap operas traditionally were set over a day, and they'd start at breakfast and carry on. I don't know, because I haven't seen a soap opera for 15 years. But that thing about you turn on the telly and they're having breakfast. You turn on the telly and they're sitting around the kitchen table. I thought, us in theatre, we have to write something that isn't happening on the TV. It's hard now because there's fantastic things happening on the TV. But that's what we still have to do. Right, shall we write some more? Shall we write some dialogue? It could be a monologue, but that's a bit easy, isn't it? Let's invent another character. I'm presuming you've got one character. If not, get that character. Don't bother with all that stuff about making up characters, making the lists and things. Just choose them, you know. She's a mother, or she's a daughter, or she's a betrayer, or she's a savior, or he is lost, or he's the founder, or he's the breaker. You know, just find that, you know, that give them a bit more of an action. And then the other person has to be somebody who's really different to them. It's that easy. It's like putting Tigger and Eeyore together. It's like putting little Bilbo Baggins with one of those big orky things. Just put two different characters together. And let's write a bit of dialogue. 10 minutes dialogue. How much dialogue am I going to write? I'd be happy with 15 lines, 20 lines. Yeah, I'm still going to stay on pencil and paper just because I've got a screen here and I have to open up a Word document. But you do whatever you like. 10 minutes, okay? We're going to write some dialogue. And it doesn't matter whether it's connected to the first bit. It really doesn't matter. It's your writing. It doesn't matter whether it's connected to those three objects. That's just their starting point, isn't it? Go where you like. Write what you like. Two characters who are different. They're not talking about fairy liquid or snowdrops or mung beans. They're not even talking. Well, they are, because they're using words, but they're not. I think what they're trying to do something. That's what I know about a piece of dialogue. The characters are trying to get something to happen. Like me, I'm talking to you now. I'm trying to get something to happen, aren't I? I'm trying to get you to write something that you're proud of, or write something that interests you. When people talk, they're trying to get something to happen. They're trying to get the other person to leave the room, or get the other person to kiss them, or get the other person to do their job properly, or get the other person to pay the mortgage on time, or get the other person to exchange something in a shop. We're always in plays, characters are trying to get the other person to do something. Ooh, that's a generalization, isn't it? Okay, here we go. Set my alarm for 10 minutes. Off we go. This piece I'm going to put to one side. I could throw it away, but I don't feel secure enough yet. You're having a nice time. I love it, making stuff up. God, I'm out the zone now. I've got to get back in. Sorry for interrupting you. That's it. 10 minutes. Okay, what the deal now, I think, is this, is that I'm going to read what I've written. Don't judge me. And I share a little bit of my process, because I think that's what this is about. Writing on the wall brings in a writer, and they share what they do. I'm not telling you that what I do is right. It obviously isn't right. It's just what I do. It's what I do. And then you can make a judgment. Or is it useful, or is he just barking up the wrong tree? Excuse me. And then after, what I'd love you to do is send what you've written, post it into Writing on the Wall, and I'll put it as a PS at the end of this this little 30-minute playtime. Okay, I've got two characters. Lucy. I wrote about Lucy in the first one. In this one, Lucy was a baby. She was lying in a mother's womb. She was in a sack of fluid. I started with that, this fluid, went to sack of fluid, went to the baby. But then this time, I've gone to this. It's a woman and her partner. She's called Lucy. I don't think it's the same Lucy. And I've done this much. I'm really proud of myself. Look, here we are. 1, 2 pages. I'll read it, okay? A creaky chair. Lucy half lies, half sits in the birthing pool. She's with her partner. I don't know what his name is. It's too hot. No reply. It's too hot. It's what it says. I don't care. Here, look, he offers the guidebook. For Christ's sake, turn it down. Before you said turn it up. Now I'm saying down. Do you want tea? I want it down. All right, it's down. Now it's down. And he says, does it hurt? Of course it fucking hurts. Shall I call? No. It's too early. I think don't. She carries on. We've had 3 false alarms. We're not doing another. I'll say it was me. Me? You mean you? You, the stupid woman who got in here again? The stupid woman who called them again? Christ, it was like Holby fucking City. They brought their stuff up the stairs. Have they fixed the lift yet? I don't know. Phone them. It's a Sunday. How can I do this when they haven't even fixed the lift? That's how far I go. I got stuck then at the end because I thought, this is interesting, isn't it? If it's a piece of theatre, I've got a woman in a birthing pool. Does that mean the whole of the play is stuck in a birthing pool? When I write, I think really hard about scene changes. I know changing scene in theatre is much, much more difficult than film or telly because all they do is cut. What do we have to do? We've got to get the tables off, haven't we? And get the tables on, or in this case, are we really going to move a birthing pool on and off? Oh, or maybe we're going to have one of those great big composite sets where one part's a birthing pool and the other part's the lift, and then there's the bedroom. It's unlikely that that's going to happen. Do we design the set when we're writing? Not really. You know, people say to us all the time, you just write it and we'll design it, we'll do it. They're lying. They are lying. I think we have to have some idea about how the machinery of theatre works. I've got a problem here, haven't I? I've got a woman in the birthing pool. We don't have to have a birthing pool, of course. When it's made, this play, they don't have to have an actual birthing pool. She could be sitting on a chair, or I don't know, she could be doing anything. We could pretend there's a birthing pool, but I don't know. Or that, or, oh yeah, okay, maybe this then. In my head, I'm starting to think, maybe there definitely is a birthing pool there, and maybe the whole play takes place around the birthing pool. Even all the other scenes, the scene on the beach, the scene in the lift, the scene in the ambulance, the scene, I can't think of any more, but we're going to keep this birthing pool there all the time, all the time, all the time. Great. So now I feel in a good position as a writer, because now I know my play can work if somebody can make that decision. I don't have to decide it, but I've legitimized my decision. Yeah. When I write, I don't do lights up and lights down. I try and find a way of going from one scene to another. In fact, I very rarely even number the scenes. I'll do I'm going to be doing a little workshop later on, and we'll talk about scenes, what a scene is, because they're our building blocks, aren't they? Okay, that's it. It's been lovely writing this morning. I've enjoyed it. I hope you have. I really hope you have. I'd love to read what you've written, so please whisk it into writing on the wall, and yeah, let's see where we got. Take care. Happy writing. I'm going to sign off now. All right. Bye-bye. See you again.